Hi there BookTube, it's Eleanor here, and today I want to talk to you about some books that have come into my house, either from the publisher or books that I've bought myself. This is sort of the tail end of books that I bought with money for Christmas, and books that I had on sort of pre-order that are sort of now trickling in. So I do anticipate book hauls easing off a little bit as the year goes on, otherwise I can't read them quick enough. But let's talk about the books that have come in. The first group of books I want to talk about are some graphic novels that I had on order, which have arrived, and I'm going to try and do, I'm really just in the mood to have like a day where I just read graphic novels, so I'm going to try and do like a 24-hour graphic novel readathon just for myself, not like a organised one, but soon. But I have to find a day where Matilda is doing something for the day or out for the day, or where I can just really focus and chill and sort of sit with them, because I like to sort of look through the books, and then yeah, I just need a bit more space than a few hours. So I'm not sure when that's going to happen, but the first one I picked up here is called Rusty Brown, and this is an interesting looking graphic novel. It's by the same person, I think, that did another one that I've got here, so I'll show you that in a minute. But I'll see if I can show you some of the artwork here. So this is a weird description of the book. It says, "This experimental picture novel in progress by artist, writer, cartoonist F.C. Ware congeals over a decade and a half's futile attempt at graphing the fleeting, uncertain sensations of childhood love and the ineffable but indispensable apparatus of human empathy, properly described as a pictoglyphic paper time machine. Time and the New York Times both selected Mr. Ware's previous effort, Building Stories, as a top 10 book of the year." So it sounds weird, but the artwork appealed to me, and I just thought I'll give it a go and see. So I've got this one, and as that blurb just described, I also finally, because this has been on my wish list for years, treated myself to this mammoth thing. I have to sit back so you can see it. It's called Building Stories, and this is 14 distinctly discrete books, booklets, magazines, newspapers and pamphlets, and I believe it tells the story of these people, I don't know if you can see on the back here, living in this building. And it's meant to be an amazing sort of way of reading a story and this sort of graphic novel sort of taken to a new level. So my idea with this is that when I do read this, I will do it as a video, and I'll show you me opening it and we can sort of discover it together. So I'm really excited about finally getting to this one. It's mammoth, but again, like, see if I can show you some of the stuff on the back. Like the artwork just looks absolutely phenomenal. So I'm really excited to have those two ready to read. And then the third graphic novel that I picked up is the second book in a series which I have fallen in love with alongside everybody else that's ever read them, and this is the Tea Dragon Festival, which is, as I say, the sequel to the Tea Dragon Society by Katie O'Neill. The first book in the series was magical and just brilliant and so dreamlike, and the artwork is just so beautiful, and I love the fact that it's talking about tea and these dragons. So you've got like all these different, look at these end papers, you've got all these different tea dragons, and at the back of the first one you've got sort of like a compendium of lists of all the different tea dragons, which I thought was great. And it's this sort of story of these people that own them and how they look after them, and it was just brilliant. So I wanted to get the follow-up one, which feels to me a lot thicker, so maybe a longer story. And again, everyone I hear who has read these has loved them, so I'm really pleased to be adding this to my collection. Okay, now I want to talk about 3 books that I was very kindly sent by Pam Macmillan, by the people at Book Break. These just really called to me from the list that was sent out recently. I believe they're probably all already out now, but they're ones that I think are really going to help me in my plans and endeavours for my personal life in 2020. So the first one is The Life-Changing Manga of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo. Now this one I'm hoping will just inspire me to have a little bit more think about things. I have been much better over the last few years at sort of cleansing myself of things that we no longer need in the house, but I would like to eventually maybe go through my books and do a bit more of that. My 5-star reads isn't a massive shelf, but definitely could be sort of gone over and just go through and have a look. So I'm looking forward to reading this, and as it says, it is a manga, so it should be quite a quick read. And then the other 2 books that I was very kindly sent by them are both to do with what I sort of think of as the anti-diet, really, because there's quite a big push at the moment, and there's quite a new sort of wave of people saying, let's not diet, let's look at the psychological aspect of why we gain weight and then fix that part. So this first one is called The Last Diet, and it's by Shahru Izadi. It says discover the secret of losing weight for good. But I don't think it is actually, you know, this eat this today and then eat that. It says in the back, it says it's not a diet plan, it's a revolutionary new approach and the only guide you'll need to lose weight. Author and habit change expert Shahru Izadi draws on her professional experience of working in an addiction treatment and her personal experience of maintaining substantial weight loss to help you find the best diet for your body and your life. She'll identify where your unwanted habits come from, how to accept them, and crucially how to change them. So I just think it'll be an interesting read, and maybe one that will help me on my journey to just become sort of fitter and healthier in 2020. And that also is sort of the aim of reading this next one, which is called Just Eat: How Intuitive Eating Can Help You Get Your Shit Together Around Food by Laura Thomas, PhD. I saw Emma from Book Break talk about this, and she interviewed the author, and I remember thinking at the time that I thought it was a really interesting book and one that I was definitely sort of on my radar, and then when it came up I thought I'd definitely like to read it. I just think the end papers of this are amazing. It's got donuts and apples on. I just think that's brilliant. And again, this one says it's a mission to help us take back control over our bodies, free us from restrictive dieting, disordered eating and punishing exercise, to reject the guilt and anxiety associated with eating, and to ultimately feel good about ourselves. It's part manifesto, part practical guide, and it rallies against the exhausting culture of dieting and provides simple tools and techniques for developing a more trusting, healthy relationship with your body and food. So I definitely think that that's what I'm going to be reading. So thank you so much to Pam Macmillan for sending me these, and I'm looking forward to coming back to you guys on how I do with them and what my thoughts are on them, and if they help me in any way in achieving my goals this year. So if you've seen my last book haul, you'll know that I am stocking up on Fanny Flagg books, and another one that I had ordered arrived of that is Fanny Flagg's The Whole Town's Talking. I'm picking up loads of Fanny Flagg books in second hand as I see them cheap, just so that I can have them on my shelves, so when I need a little bit of a Fanny Flagg fix, I can pick this up and go to it. The next book I picked up is called Followers by Megan Angelo. This is set in 1951 and is about a mother and daughter who enter this sort of area where their lives are going to be followed completely by video cameras, and the mother is quite happy with that. She likes living her life in the limelight, but the daughter is not. She doesn't like this sort of constant attention. She discovers something, I think, about her birth, and she has to sort of fight to find out what has happened or find out more about her life and how it sort of came about. So yeah, I think this one's going to be an interesting look at sort of media living your life as a celebrity in the limelight, and I think, yeah, I think it will be good. I think it will be a fast read, and one that will definitely keep me guessing, hopefully. A book that I've been really looking forward to is Long Bright River by Liz Moore. I enjoyed Liz's book, Unseen World. I thought that was really good, so I did want to pick up this one, and it sounds much darker and much more sort of a thriller to me, and definitely one that piqued my interest. This is about two sisters. One of them is a police officer and the other one is a sex worker, and this is about prostitutes turning up dead, and it's about the sister's determination to try and catch the killer in order to make sure that her sister doesn't become one of the victims. And I don't think she's got much support from people in the police force, because they don't feel like prostitutes and sex workers are worth time and effort and money to try and save, and yet she is sort of dangerously so obsessed with finding this killer, obviously to sort of try and keep her sister safe. So I think this is going to be a really interesting look at family and sisters, and also have a bit of a sort of thriller mystery aspect to it as well. So I think that sounds really good. The next book was one that was recommended by one of you lovely people, and one that I just couldn't believe I'd not heard of and sounded amazing, so I picked it up. I picked it up secondhand. It's Euphoria by Lily King. This just sounded right up my street. When one of you recommended it, I was like, oh, I'll Google it and see what the synopsis is, and the moment I read it, I knew that I have to pick this one up. It's set in 1933, about three young gifted anthropologists who are thrown together in the jungle of New Guinea. They are Nell Stone, fascinating, magnetic and famous for her controversial work studying South Pacific tribes, her intelligent and aggressive husband Fen, and Andrew Bankstone, who stumbles into the lives of this strange couple and becomes totally enthralled. Within months, the trio are producing their best work ever, but soon a firestorm of fierce love and jealousy begins to burn out of control, threatening their bonds, their careers, and ultimately their lives. So this sounds brilliant. The next book was one I was really anticipating. It is Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reid. This is about a woman. She is taking the child that she is babysitting for to the supermarket. Whilst in the supermarket, she is accosted and accused of kidnapping this child. This sets off sort of a chain event of emotions, and it just of events, and it just so happens that her employer, the mother of this child, is a feminist blogger and is determined to sort of stick up for her employee, and I think it becomes you know, this sort of relationship between these two women, and is what she's doing actually helping, and how can she help? So Jojo Moyes said she couldn't put this down. Jessie Burton says utterly phenomenal. There's some really great blurbs in this. Taylor Jenkins Reid says both wildly fun and breathtakingly wise. I'm in awe. So I can't wait to pick this one up, and I just think it's a really interesting concept and something that needs exploring, so I'm looking forward to seeing how it's tackled. The next book was also one of my most anticipated of the beginning of the year, and that is Love Boat Taipei by Abigail Hing Wen. This is about Eva. She gets sent off to this sort of summer school. She's expecting it to be this really strict summer school where she's going to have to sort of really knuckle down, and it ends up being this sort of love boaty type place where everyone's hooking up, and she can really explore herself a bit more. So I think this one sounds like fun. It's been blurbed. It says equal parts surprising, original and intelligent, and I think that's really high praise, so I'm looking forward to seeing what I think. The next one is Nonfiction, and I don't know, I'm really intrigued by family stories about big families that own big businesses that have sort of generation upon generation of people running them, and this one just piqued my interest. It is the untold story of the family behind the jewellery empire, the Cartiers. Francesca Cartier Bricknell wrote this, and I just think it sounds interesting. I want to know more about this sort of jewellery empire. It says the captivating story of the family behind the Cartier empire and the three brothers who turned their grandfather's humble Parisian jewellery store into a global luxury icon, as told by a great granddaughter with exclusive access to long-lost family archives. So I look forward to reading this when I'm in the mood for a bit of non-fiction. So that's all the books that have come in recently. As always, let me know if you've read any of these and your thoughts, and I can't wait. There's so many new books, so many books that I'm excited about this year. So thank you to those of you that recommended books. I'll put them on my bookshelf to make sure I read this year and let you know if I agree with you and I loved them too. And keep your eyes peeled soon for a review of those graphic novels and maybe a bit of a vlog of sort of a 24-hour graphic novel readathon. Hopefully I'll do that sometime this month or next month. But that's it from me, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye for now, BookTube.